So before Renovatus, before this life, I was 16 years in deep addiction, and I realized that, at my worst point, that I was truly in a bad way. And I have a verse that I'm going to rely to, that I was a slave to my addiction. I was a slave to a big part of all kind of addictions, and drugs, alcohol, sex, anything that I could just do that would make me feel well.
When all I could think about is just getting right, because I realized that I was so far away from God's, in relations with God, and like actually knowing Him. It was like I didn't even know Him anymore.
I guess that's what it was. Life before I got here was horrible. I didn't know love. I didn't know family. I didn't know.
And I was chasing things in ways that I knew that my life was not well. And I really felt this, even though I was so high I didn't know my name, I felt this call said, your life's about to change. This was a little over 2 years ago. And, I started telling my friends and stuff that I'm going to change. My life's going to change. And, of course, being as high as I was, they probably just said, it's time for you to go lay down. But, I told all my friends, my life's going to change, And I remember my last hit that I bought before getting arrested. I says, that night, I was going home about 9 o'clock. I was walking up the road, and I was just furious mad, just frustrated to the end. And, where I live at, it's a very rural area, and it's, I was walking up the road and just was talking like I'm talking now. And next thing you know, I just start getting louder and louder. God, I'm trying to go to Morristown. I'm trying to find a job. I'm trying to change my life. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And I am tired of not being able to change this. And if by June the 6th you do not give me no change, I'm going to take this bottle of pills that I stole from my mama. I'll go up in the woods as far as I can go, and I'm going to end my life. On May 28th, I was arrested.
A group of the friends that I were running around with when I was arrested, one of them come in right behind me, and he was charged with some charges that ultimately led him to getting 30 years in prison. And it was like God said, look, Josh, if you do not stop doing what you're doing, this is going to be you. And that's when I started praying and seeking out what God wanted for me and where I could go, where He could use me. And then that's when I met Pete and Beth. They come and interviewed me and said that they were going to take me in. And then it's like God had put me in all these places since I've been out to show me this quality of life that we really do have here. After I got out, I was here, and not even a week later, my brother was arrested with firearms and possession of meth. And there's no doubt in my mind that if I hadn't been brought here, that's where I'd have been at now. Now my brother's looking at 20 years because of this stuff. And so that's just how God's showing me like He's got me where He wants me.
What I've come to realize since being here is, you think about Jesus and how He went through in His last days. He was taking our sins with the freedom. And once He got up on the cross and He released our sins, it was the freedom that had set us free. And He done that for us freely. To continue my life verse, Galatians 6:1 it is for freedom Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not be burdened again by a yoke of slavery.
I thought I could work everything out on my own, so I don't need anything or anybody to help me, with all the issues. But I decided to come back home to join Renovatus almost 2 years ago, and my life has changed beyond all I could ever imagine. For just finally, allowing God to work in my life and just giving it up. So I'm very blessed to have the parents that I do, and I've gotten a relationship with them that I haven't had in a long, long time, and with my other family members as well. I've got good things going on. I have a good job. So if you'd have told me, that I would be married and be a father, I would have told you that would be way out of the picture. And it's helped me, Renovatus, to restore, and it has definitely, helped restore, my life and my walk with God. And just different chapters from everything from, just getting basic schedules down to, financing your money and just managing, budgeting, things like that. But more importantly, it's just helped me grow closer to God.
So we saw where people would go to recovery and they would get help. But then because of economics, most of the time they would have to go back to the same places that they came from. And nothing had changed. And so when we began this process, we were looking for a holistic approach to be able to help people, not just with recovery, but with their whole lives. So we were looking for a holistic way, to walk alongside people through this process. And so what we really began to focus on was the discipling. The Christian discipling was the foundation of what we do and who we are. Then we also knew that people needed a safe home, a place where they didn't have the pressure to use drugs and alcohol. But there were certain, life skills, that they needed to learn. And so, we kept seeing over and over that they were making great progress spiritually, but they still, weren't able to live a sustainable life, that they were still poor. And so we began, the farm. And the farm, has added so much, in this process. The farm, allows us to work and to have, a safe place to work and to learn some work skills and people skills. And so through that process, this has really changed and became, a holistic approach. And also, we know that people need to be in community, so that without other people with them, walking alongside them in this process, then they wound up being alone again, and they would return to the same places that they came from. So having people, in their community to be a friend, to be a mentor, accountability partners and sponsors, was just so important, to the whole process that we believe that God has led us into.